The Galactic Federation General Sirius stared at the reports in disbelief. Humans were supposed to be extinct, he exclaimed. Centuries ago, the Two Empire had waged a brutal war against humanity, bombarding Earth into a lifeless husk and hunting down the remnants scattered across the stars. History recorded humanity's ultimate defeat and extinction. But now, a human soldier was wreaking havoc on a secret Two military outpost, leaving destruction in his wake. Awakening from the past. Hours earlier, Captain Jake Morales awoke from cryogenic stasis aboard the derelict battleship, the U.S. Perseus, adrift in uncharted space. Disoriented and confused, he discovered a horrifying truth. He was likely the last human alive. The ship's logs chronicled humanity's last desperate attempt to preserve their species, launching a few thousand survivors in cryopods into the void to escape the Tau's final genocidal campaign. A desperate crash landing. Determined to find other survivors, Morales set course for the nearest habitable world in a barely functional escape pod. The crash landing was rough, but he survived, only to find himself on a Two base. Armed with a pistol and his wits, Morales used stealth, sabotage, and guerrilla tactics to evade the increasingly irate aliens hunting him. General's fear. General Sirius felt an unfamiliar sensation creeping up his spine. Fear. This lone human was accomplishing the impossible, fighting with a ferocity and cunning that defied everything the Tau knew about the species' capabilities. The Federation had been wrong. Humanity was not extinct. If there was one survivor, there could be more. Intercepted communications. Morales hacked the Tau communication network, intercepting a partial translation. Blood ran cold as he realized the stakes. If the Tau Empire learned humans still lived, they would finish the job they started centuries ago. Morales knew he had to act quickly to prevent the Tau from discovering the location of the other cryopods. A grim decision. As Tau ships descended on the planet, Morales faced a dire choice: steal a ship and escape to continue his desperate search for survivors, or stay and fight to stop the Tau from spreading the word about humanity's survival. The fate of mankind hung in the balance as the last human prepared to make his stand. A beacon of hope. Morales fired the thrusters on his battered escape pod and set a course for a secret Tau research facility. Coordinates flashed on his holo display as he punched them in with shaking fingers. He had to find out if any other humans were left. The pod shuddered and groaned as it streaked through the void, barely holding together. A new resolve. With a bone-jarring thud, the pod crashed onto the moon's rocky surface, skidding and spinning before slamming into the side of the facility. Morales threw open the hatch, pistol in hand, and leaped out into the cold, airless landscape. The structure loomed over him, dark and forbidding. He checked his oxygen levels and moved towards the nearest airlock, determined to uncover the truth and ensure humanity's survival. In the heart of darkness, navigating the facility. Inside the facility, it was pitch black. Morales' helmet lamps cast narrow beams of light, dancing shadows on the walls as he moved cautiously down the corridors. The air was stale and recycled, and dread knotted in his stomach. He found the holding cells first, the doors yawning open, long dead force fields inlaid. Empty rooms with metal cots and leather restraints told of past horrors, uncovering atrocities. The laboratories were worse. Exam tables with straps dangled from rusted stirrups, trays of surgical tools scattered about. Morales' light revealed transparent tanks filled with dark liquid. As he peered closer, he recoiled in horror. Twisted abominations floated within, nightmarish fusions of Tau and human limbs, faces contorted in agony, determined to expose. Bile rose in his throat as Morales stumbled back, rage and grief warring within him. He had to expose these atrocities to the galaxy. The command center still had auxiliary power, and Morales worked to rewire the system. Holographic screens flickered to life, and he scanned through the data, translating the Tau script with his suit's rudimentary language pack. Horrific experiments. What he found turned his blood to ice. Records of horrific experiments attempting to create a hybrid soldier species. Each trial ended in failure, the subjects dying agonizing deaths. But recent entries mentioned a breakthrough. Resilient human captives able to endure the gene splicing. These entries ended abruptly, noting the transfer of the remaining test subjects off-world for further experimentation, raising the alarm. Desperately, Morales dug deeper, uncovering communications about a massive orbital shipyard in a nearby star system. The TOE were constructing a new dreadnought, a warship to enable their conquest of more worlds and hunt down the last remnants of humanity. Morales rigged a makeshift long-range transmitter and broadcasted an urgent message detailing the shipyard coordinates, the dreadnought construction, and the TOE's genocidal plans. The incoming threat. As the transmission ended, proximity alerts blared through the facility. TOE strike craft streaked towards the moon, guns primed to eliminate the threat. Morales barricaded himself in the command center, checking the charge on his pistol. He would make the TOE pay in blood for every step they took. Unexpected allies. On the fringes of the system, a ramshackle collection of ships picked up Morales' distress signal. Verx, a grizzled Cori mercenary, listened to the humans' words laying out the TOE's crimes and pleading for aid. "Well, boys," Verx growled, a fierce light in his eyes. "Looks like we just got a chance to give those TOE scum a real bloody nose. Plot a course for those coordinates." Preparing for battle. At the shipyard, Admiral Kurzik watched as the final phase of construction began on his mighty flagship. Alarms shrilled through the bridge as sensors detected multiple ships dropping out of hyperspace. Morales braced himself as the airlock seals burst open and the thunder of heavy combat boots filled the halls. He would show these alien bastards how a human fights. The clash of wills. The initial assault. The first TOE fighters screamed overhead, strafing the building with plasma bolts. The structure quaked as Morales braced himself in the command center. With a savage grin, he prepared to show the TOE what a human was capable of. The airlock seals burst open, and the thunder of heavy combat boots filled the halls. Holding the line, Morales engaged the TOE soldiers with calculated precision, using the facility's layout to his advantage. He relied on guerrilla tactics, setting traps and ambushes that whittled down the enemy forces. Each encounter left a trail of destruction and TOE corpses, but Morales knew he couldn't hold out forever. Reinforcements arrive. Just as Morales' ammunition ran low, the reinforcements he had called for arrived. Verx and his motley crew of mercenaries, pirates, and renegades stormed the facility, engaging the TOE in fierce combat. Morales, now fighting alongside his unexpected allies, felt a surge of hope. The TOE forces were caught off guard, and their ranks began to thin. A temporary victory. The combined human and alien forces managed to push the TOE back, securing a temporary victory. The facility was in ruins, but they had won the first round. Morales and Verx quickly set about fortifying their position and tending to the wounded. They knew the TOE would return with greater force, and they had to be ready. Planning the next move. In the aftermath of the battle, Morales and Verx convened to plan their next move. They had to strike the TOE shipyard before the dreadnought was completed. Morales shared the data he had gathered, and Verx relayed it to his contacts in the galactic underworld. They needed more allies, more ships, and more firepower. A growing rebellion. Word of the humans' survival and the TOE's atrocities spread quickly. More ships began to arrive, forming a ragtag fleet of those willing to fight against the TOE tyranny. The rebellion was growing, and with it, the hope of saving humanity and countless other species oppressed by the TOE. Steeling for battle. As the fleet prepared for the assault on the TOE shipyard, Morales felt a renewed sense of purpose. He had thought he was alone, but now he stood with a growing army of allies. They had one chance to strike a decisive blow against the TOE and change the course of the war. The calm before the storm. In the quiet moments before the battle, Morales reflected on the journey that had brought him here. from the last surviving human to the leader of a galactic rebellion, his fight was far from over. The fate of humanity and many other species rested on the success of their mission. The assault on the shipyard. The approach. The fleet emerged from hyperspace on the edge of the TOE star system, engines running silent to avoid detection. The shipyard loomed ahead, bristling with defenses and the nearly completed dreadnought. Morales and Verks coordinated their attack, knowing the element of surprise was their greatest advantage. Striking first. The assault began with a coordinated barrage of torpedoes and laser fire, targeting the shipyard's defenses. Explosions rippled across the structure as shields flickered and failed. Fighters and bombers swarmed out from the fleet, engaging TOE ships in dogfights that lit up the void. Infiltrating the shipyard. Morales led a team of commandos on a daring mission to infiltrate the shipyard. Using the chaos of the battle as cover, they breached the hull and made their way towards the dreadnought. Their objective: disable the ship's main reactor and prevent it from joining the fight. Fierce resistance. The TOE defenders put up a fierce resistance, but Morales and his team fought with relentless determination. They moved through the corridors of the shipyard, neutralizing security systems and engaging enemy forces in close-quarters combat. Every step forward was hard-won, but they pressed on. A desperate gamble. Reaching the reactor core, Morales set the charges while his team held off waves of TOE soldiers. The countdown began, and they fought their way back towards the extraction point. The shipyard was crumbling around them, explosions tearing through its superstructure. The dreadnought's fall. As the charges detonated, the dreadnought was engulfed in a massive fireball. The shockwave rippled through the shipyard, sending debris hurtling into space. The fleet outside cheered as the symbol of TOE supremacy was destroyed, a significant blow to the enemy's morale and capabilities. A Pyrrhic victory. The victory came at a high cost. Many brave fighters were lost in the battle, and the fleet was battered and bruised. But they had struck a critical blow against the TOE, proving that the rebellion could challenge their might. Morales and his allies regrouped, determined to continue the fight. The road ahead. With the dreadnought destroyed, the rebellion had bought some time. Morales knew the TOE would retaliate, and they had to prepare for the next phase of the war. They needed to secure more allies, build stronger defenses, and continue their campaign to liberate the galaxy. A beacon of hope. The battle had shown that even the mightiest empire could be challenged. The rebellion's message of hope and resistance spread across the stars, inspiring others to join the cause. Morales stood ready, knowing that the fight for humanity and freedom was far from over. The growing rebellion, uniting the galaxy. In the aftermath of the shipyard assault, the rebellion grew stronger. Ships and fighters from across the galaxy joined the cause, united by a common enemy. Morales and Verks worked tirelessly to forge alliances, secure resources, and plan their next moves. A new strategy. The TOE Empire was vast and powerful, but the rebellion had shown they were vulnerable. Morales and his advisors devised a strategy of hit-and-run attacks, disrupting supply lines and targeting key installations. They aimed to weaken the TOE's grip on their territories and rally more support. Training and preparation. Morales oversaw the training of new recruits, instilling in them the skills and discipline needed for the fight ahead. The rebellion's ranks swelled with individuals of all species, each bringing their unique talents and strengths to the cause. The camaraderie and shared purpose forged a strong and resilient force. Intelligence network. An intricate intelligence network was established, providing vital information on TOE movements and plans. Spies and informants risked their lives to gather data, ensuring the rebellion stayed one step ahead. Morales relied on this network to make strategic decisions and coordinate attacks. Striking from the shadows. The rebellion's hit-and-run tactics kept the TOE off balance. Raids on supply convoys, sabotage missions, and ambushes became commonplace. Morales led several daring operations, each one chipping away at the TOE's strength and spreading fear among their ranks. A message of hope. Throughout the galaxy, the rebellion's message resonated. Broadcasts and speeches from Morales and other leaders inspired hope and resistance. The oppressed and downtrodden found courage in the rebellion's actions, and more planets began to rise up against the Toe. The Toe's desperation. The Toe Empire, facing increasing resistance, grew desperate. They tightened their grip on their territories, resorting to brutal tactics to quell uprisings. But the more they oppressed, the stronger the rebellion's resolve became. Morales knew they were turning the tide, preparing for the final battle. As the rebellion gained momentum, Morales and his advisors planned their most ambitious operation yet, a direct assault on the Toe's capital world. It was a risky move, but they believed it was the only way to end the war. The fleet was mobilized, and preparations began for the final battle. The assault on the capital. The approach. The rebel fleet emerged from hyperspace, the Toe capital world looming ahead. The planet was heavily defended, with countless ships and orbital platforms ready to repel any attack. Morales knew this would be their toughest battle yet, but they were prepared to give everything for victory. Breaking through. The assault began with a massive barrage of firepower. The rebel ships engaged the Toe defenses in a fierce battle, laser beams and missiles lighting up the void. Morales led the charge, his flagship at the forefront of the attack. They had to break through the defenses and reach the planet's surface. Infiltrating the capital. As the space battle raged on, teams of commandos, including Morales, infiltrated the capital. Their mission was to disable key installations and pave the way for the main force. They moved through the city, engaging Toe soldiers and planting explosives at strategic points. The final confrontation. Morales and his team reached the heart of the Toe government, a massive fortress guarded by elite troops. The final confrontation was brutal, with intense firefights and close-quarters combat. Morales fought with everything he had, driven by the hope of ending the war. Victory and sacrifice. The rebellion's forces overwhelmed the Toe defenders, breaching the fortress and capturing the Toe leadership. The capital fell, and with it, the Toe's hold on the galaxy. It was a hard-won victory, with many lives lost, but the rebellion had triumphed. A new era. With the Toe Empire defeated, the galaxy entered a new era of peace and cooperation. The rebellion transitioned into a governing body, working to rebuild and unite the war-torn worlds. Morales, now a hero to many, played a crucial role in shaping the new order. A lasting legacy. Rebuilding and healing. The task of rebuilding the galaxy was immense. The former rebel leaders, now part of the new government, focused on healing the wounds of war. Infrastructure was repaired, economies revitalized, and displaced populations resettled. Morales oversaw these efforts, ensuring that justice and fairness guided their actions. A united galaxy. The new government worked tirelessly to unite the diverse species of the galaxy. Treaties and alliances were forged, fostering cooperation and mutual respect. The lessons learned from the war guided their policies, and a spirit of unity and collaboration took hold. Celebrating heroes. Monuments and memorials were erected to honor the fallen heroes of the rebellion. Morales and his comrades were celebrated for their bravery and sacrifice. Their stories inspired future generations, reminding them of the power of resilience and determination. Advancing knowledge. With peace restored, the galaxy turned its attention to scientific and technological advancements. Research centers and universities flourished, and new discoveries were made. Humanity's ingenuity, combined with the knowledge of other species, propelled the galaxy into a new age of innovation. Cultural exchange. The post-war period saw a flourishing of cultural exchange. Music, art, and literature from different worlds were shared and celebrated, creating a rich tapestry of galactic culture. Festivals and events brought people together, fostering understanding and friendship. Morales' legacy. Commander Jake Morales, now an elder statesman, continued to guide and inspire. His leadership and vision had been instrumental in the rebellion's success and the subsequent rebuilding. Morel's legacy of courage, unity, and hope endured, shaping the galaxy's future. A bright future. As the galaxy moved forward, the memory of the struggle against the Toe remained a source of strength and unity. The new government worked to ensure that such tyranny would never rise again. The future was bright, and the galaxy stood ready to embrace it, united and resilient.